Once upon a time, not really very long ago, there lived in this small Midwestern town a young man named William Blake. Like many other young men brought up in small towns, William was anxious to see what he called the outside world. I can't for the life of me figure out why William wanted to leave such a pretty town, all sprinkled with clean white houses and great green lawns planted with cool shade trees. Oh, it's true that Williamstown is just a small town, but there's really a lot to do here, and on the large farms nearby. The farms that produce much of the food that keeps you and me and other city folk alive and healthy. One of these farms belongs to William's grandparents, and it is on this farm that William spends much of his time during the long summer vacations from school. Well, there's William now, sitting on that cool bank by the stream that runs through the farm. There he sits, fishing and daydreaming. And there is Shivers, his dog. It's a very pretty place. I'm sure that you or I wouldn't want to leave such a delightful spot. But William is quite a man now. You see, he graduated from the 8th grade just last week. And next semester he'll be starting high school. So he feels that he'd like to travel to the big city and seek his fortune. Just daydreaming, of course. Let me put it this way. Have you ever noticed how a cow will most always try to get to the grass on the other side of the fence, even though she is surrounded by grass just as good and just as green? Well, that's how it is with people, too. We just have to see if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Most of us, the lucky ones, soon discover that the grass at home is greener, and we're glad to return. But first, most of us just have to find out. Now, that's exactly how William felt. He likes his town and this fine big farm, but his thoughts, for the moment at least, are on those greener fields over the horizon. In William's case, the city. Bill, I don't think he'd mind if we called him Bill. He's such a friendly fellow, as we'll soon see. Well, Bill has been mighty restless since school closed for the summer, and he feels that he'll simply explode if he doesn't get to the city pretty soon. Although I must say he doesn't look at all restless here, stretched out in the field, looking up at the sky and finding all sorts of pictures in the clouds. That's a wonderful way to think things out. I'm sure you've all tried it. It's fun at night, too, to lie flat on your back and look up at the stars. Sometimes, especially on Monday nights, they say, you can see shooting stars. But I'm getting away from my story. Looking at Bill so nice and comfortable makes me drowsy. Pardon me. You know, I'll bet he falls asleep and forgets all about that nonsense of seeking his fortune in the city. Oh, I guess not. Well, let's watch and see what he does.
Shivers, I've made up my mind. Yes, sir, I've made up my mind. I'm going to the city today. Right now, in fact. Let's see. $1.73. That'll take me a long ways, I've got these sandwiches, too. I'll be a man of action, as Grandfather says, and start out right now. Shivers, you stay here. The city is no place for a country dog. Go on, you run along home.
Good day, my young and healthy friend. Whither are you bound? To yonder great city, perchance? Come and visit with a tired, lonely old traveler for a spell.
Why, hello. Oh, forgive me for staring. I don't mean to be rude, but I must say you startled me.
Oh, come now, my dear young sir. There's no reason why I should startle you. It's just that you don't know me. Do stop for a moment. As I was about to say, you don't know me yet. Lots of people find me a delightful companion when first they get to know me. But alas, I don't seem to be able to keep my friends for very long. I try so hard to make people happy and gay, but I guess my spirits are much too strong for them. That's a joke, boy.
A joke? You are a funny fellow. But you really don't seem like such a bad sort. If you had a bath and some clean clothes, you might look halfway decent.
A bath? Clean clothes? Sir, don't mention such things in my presence. I can see that you're a country boy. Don't you know who I am?
You do look familiar. Let me see. Haven't I seen your pictures in the magazines or on the billboards?
To be sure, thousands of times. There are a lot of news items and stories about me, none of them very good. But in the paid advertising, on the billboards, and in the magazines, you'll see some very nice pictures of me, but not how I look now. After all, I've been sick.
I think I remember. Isn't your name Whiskey?
That's right. You're a lot smarter than I thought you were. That's my name, all right. See? If you look closely, you'll see it written right here on my shirt front.
Sure enough, I can see it. But what are you doing here by the road?
I can see you have a lot to learn. Well, first things first. In answer to your question, I was traveling along in a beautiful car with a fine fella from the city. He was on his way out here for some fishing, and he brought me along to keep him company. And because of me, he smashed up his car. Right over there. Now, he's in the hospital. And here I am, walking, mind you, all the way back to the city. Some people are so ungrateful.
This is all very mysterious. I've never seen anybody like you where I live.
And just where might that be?
Williamsboro, just a few miles down the road.
Oh, that place. My friends and I are not allowed there. The citizens think we bring too much trouble. Let me tell you right here and now that things are getting very bad for me and my friends all over the country. There are so many places we're not allowed anymore.
Well, it's been nice meeting you, but I must get along. I want to get to the city before dark.
Well, I'm on my way to the city, too. Do you mind if I come along as sort of a companion? I could keep you company and point out things of interest along the road.
Well, I guess it would be all right. My father said I should be very careful with whom I make friends. But I don't see any harm in just walking along together. Think you can keep up with me? I'm a pretty fast walker.
Don't worry about that. Whenever I make a friend, I stick right with him as long as I can. In fact, I've had many friends who just couldn't part with me.
These friends of yours that just couldn't part with you, where are they now?
Unfortunately, many of them are sick, and quite a few have died. It's very sad. We were all so merry for a short while, and then the friends who are still living turned against me. Oh, I've caused a lot of trouble in my time.
But don't you have other friends like yourself?
Oh, sure, there's Brother Beer and Cousin Wine and Uncle Rum, but we never mixed very well as a family. But let's talk about you. Why do you want to leave this nice countryside for the city? If I had to do it all over again, I think I'd just be plain Mr. Soda Pop and lead the good life. Dear, I'm afraid it's too late for that now.
I haven't decided what I want to do when I'm a man. Of course, that's not very far off. What kind of a job I'd be happiest doing? And I thought that being in the city would give me a chance to look around and find something interesting.
To be sure, to be sure.
Hey, just look at that train. Now that would be fun, to be the engineer of a locomotive like that. How would that suit you, Mr. Whiskey?
Oh, I'm afraid I could never be your companion in the cab of a locomotive. No. The railroad companies would never allow that.
Why not?
Well, they have rules and regulations that say their engineers must have clear heads and sharp eyes. And there's no place for a poor old whiskey in a setup like that.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, it would be great fun to be at the throttle and go zooming by the countryside and over the prairies and across the mountains. Well, maybe you could ride in as a passenger.
No, that doesn't work well either. Some of my relatives have, but there are certain states where we're not allowed, even as passengers.
Oh, don't carry on so, Mr. Whiskey. Maybe you could be my companion doing something else.
Could be, but I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it.
Hey, that would be a fine position to have. A pilot on a cross-country plane. Hey, that'd be even more fun than running a train. Can't you see yourself way up above the clouds, soaring over the mountains, flying over the country, and swooping in for a graceful landing?
Stop it! Stop it! You're making me all nervous and dizzy. I could never be your companion on a plane. That would be even more impossible than being with you on a train.
Why?
Rules and regulations again. Always rules and regulations. They say I impair the judgment and dull the senses. And they have very strict rules about letting pilots come in contact with me. It's unheard of. No, we'll have to try something else. Say, you mind if we rest for a while? I'm all out of breath. Just here by the side of the road for a minute or two. But hold on a minute. Mind if we cross over? I'd rather not walk by that church.
That's about the silly